Good evening and you're welcome once again to another edition of Youngsters Forum, where we believe our voice is our future. I ask myself, do young people really have a future? Do they really have a voice? Because without their voices, they can't have any future. This is how we start today's program of Youngsters Forum. My name is Auntie Pearl. But take this. Have you ever wondered what anger will do to you? Because for every minute you remain angry, you give up 60 seconds of peace of mind. Just 1 minute too, and you spend about 60 seconds. Just look at the analogy. 1 minute is 60 seconds. But when you look at what anger will do to you, I mean, it's better you don't get angry, because anger will really put you into trouble. Today I have in the studio Essuman-Mensah, who is an author. We're just coming to look at what really goes into writing. If you want to write, maybe young people, a lot of people have ideas of writing a book, putting something on paper that people would want to read. How do you do it? Somebody is here who is already in the business of writing, and we know that we don't just put anything on paper for anybody to read. Because for me, if I take a book and I don't get any information, any relevant information, I'm not going to continue reading. But what actually will prompt you or motivate you to read a book? Though we say you can't judge a book by its cover, the content should tell you what information you need, or the purpose of why you bought that book. You should be able to get that purpose before you finish reading the book. Even the blurb alone should tell you something like, hey, what I'm going to read is something meaningful. So this is how we're going to do it today. How can you write a book as a young person? You have the idea of writing something, but you don't actually know how to go about it. So this is how we're going to do today, just to help you. If you're thinking of writing, I'm just going to give you some tips as to how you can write for people to also buy your book, and also for you to get something out of it. Ernest, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I don't need to introduce you, so let's hear something about yourself. Who is Ernest Essuman-Mensah?
Ernest Essuman-Mensah is a young person in Africa who writes and who dedicates his time to elevating African images to the younger generation.
So we're just coming to talk about writing. I know you're already in the business. You're an author, you write books, you talk to people on issues that goes into when it comes to writing and somewhat appreciating him or herself. So let's just think of who is an author.
Yeah, when we say an author, we're talking about somebody who put pieces of materials together and write and present it in a way that people will be able to understand. That is an author. You know, there is so much information around. There is so much information for people to consume, but sometimes they are in a form that makes it very difficult for it to be edible, if I should use that word, or for it to be digestible to many people. So the author's work is to put these materials together in a way that is edible or digestible to the reader, for him to get the information he is putting across.
Okay, so it means that you don't need to use all the jargons in English. Okay, because I'm a professor, when I'm writing, I need to use all my professorial jargons that I know before I
Yes, you know,
a book.
In writing a book, there are many questions you have to answer.
Okay.
And there is a question of who is your target market, or the people you would want to reach. So your choice of words would have to be geared towards a certain market, or a certain people that you would want them to understand. For example, if you're writing poems, you have to target a certain group. Are you writing poems about Africa? Are you writing poems about love? Is it poems about environment? Who is going to read it? Is it GSS student? Is it primary student? Is it nursery rhymes? Is it for university students? So that your choice of words would have to be able to meet that market, that when they read, they will understand. Now, when I write a poem and it's for the nursery, I should make sure that it is rhyme through. So that, like Peter, picked a pearl, little pepper, and all those kind of stuff. You know, when we are young, this is what we're introduced to. We never forget them, because it was presented in a simple language that makes us to understand though we're young. So when somebody is older, you present it in another way, because the way of learning of a younger person is quite different from an older person. When you are young, you are made to learn through your environment. That is why in nursery school, we don't sit behind tables and write like that. We're sitting on the floors, we're playing with toys, and that is how we learn. But when we grow up a little bit, we get a little bit formal in our learning process and presentations. So the way we pass on the information should also be presented in a way like that. If the person is young, you have to know how you present it. If the person is old, you have to know how to present it.
So now that we know our target group, let's say we're targeting ages between, let's say, 10 and 25. In writing a book for this kind of people, or maybe I want to write, I'm between that age and I'm interested in writing, what and what should I look out for? Yes,
you know, when we're even talking about that age range, like up to 10 years thereabout, still there are different groups of 10 years. There are 10 years in Ghana. When we're even talking about African, it's like I write about. When you're talking about a 10-year in Ghana, a 10-year boy in Ghana is different from a 10-year boy from the state. You know, the 10-year boy from the state is so much open to so many things. The 10-year boy in Ghana sometimes does not know what is snow. And you have to tell him that he has to look inside the fridge and the blog, you know, give an example of what snow is likely to look like. So the setting is also very important. The choice of language is also dependent on the setting. There are certain words that you would use here, they would not understand you. Now, for example, when you say that, can you get me a pair of pants for the training? In Ghana, the average Ghanaian 10-year would not understand. Even the SS may not understand you, because what we understand by pant is different from what an American understands by pant. Pant is just a trouser, but we will say a pair of trousers. The American will say a pant. So the choice of word, you have to make it in a certain setting. You have to write it in a certain setting that the person who is going to read it, who is your target, when he reads the language, he will be able to interpret it as you want him to understand. Because there is a big challenge in writing. And the challenge is that you have an idea you want to put across, but if you're not careful, you put up an idea and somebody will interpret it differently from the way you want to put the issue across. So before you write, you have to consider, where is it going into? The setting. Write English in that setting so that they would understand.
Write English, the one that the certain target group or where you are, those who can understand. So let's say I am a young person. I have a passion to write a book, but sometimes just taking the initiative, you know that, oh, there are so many things, so many works that you have, okay, sometimes the ideas come, you put them on paper, but actually you don't know how to put it across. So if I'm a young person, have the passion of writing, I've written so many things, but putting them together is a problem. How do I do it?
You know, there is a saying that Rome was not built in a day, and there is saying that every journey begins with a step. So the fact that you have been able to put on something is the first step. That is positive, because many young people have ideas, they don't put it down, and that is the first area I would want to tackle. That if you're a young person out there and you got an idea to present, you will surely have to write it down. If you don't write it down, then you're doing yourself a great disservice, because soon and very soon you want to get back to it and you'd have forgotten the concept and how things are. So if this person has written it down, he must continue to write it down. You know, before I came to the studio, if you saw the book I was holding, there had a lot of papers in it. That is how things started. Writing in pieces and all of that. You just keep them there. The right time would come. But when you talk about organizing, you know, in organizing, you need some other skills to come in. First, you should have computer skills in our world today. You know, in days of old, you go to the typist to do a lot of stuff for you. But in our times, things have changed. You can't be running up and down that way. So you should have computer skills. You have to be able to be able to key in few things. You have to be able to manage it. At least, if you can do it in Microsoft Office, Word, how to manipulate it, edit it, change this here. So after putting all those things that you have, they are down. The first thing is that try and type them out. Type them until, if you have a computer or if you have a whatever, if it's a family one, try to type them out gradually. Get them intact. Then from there, you can put them into segments. All those that falls under this topic, you put them together. For example, if they are poems, you might have poems that talk about love. Then you put all your love poems together. If those that will be talking about a technological advancement, you put all of that together. Those that talk about aquatic development, you put all of that together. So that now you are segmenting the ideas that you have. So that any time that, for example, you are called, opportunities come around. The reason I'm talking about segmentation is that opportunities are around. And these opportunities are such that you would have to be prepared ahead of time. But nobody knows when his opportunity is coming. That is why you have to get your things intact. So that assuming you are there, and somebody says, okay, now Radio Central is having a poem competition on environment. You have some few stuffs. You can just go and look at them, revise them, then you come on the show. Coastal TV wants some young people to come and give out some rhymes. Then you have something, you come and give it. That is the beginning. You must be willing to share what you have. And when you talk about sharing, there is a saying that sharing is caring, and caring is loving. So every gift starts with what? Sharing and caring. And when you share, it means you care. When you care, it means you love. And the beginning of the development of every gift is love. And what do I mean by love? Love is that you find something in the society, you want it to be changed. That is love. You have love for the community. You would want things to be done in the right way. That is love. So the first foundation of you exhibiting your gift is not to have fame, or to be known that you're a good writer, or everybody to know. That is not the first thing. Start on love. Love it. Love what you do. Love to, if it's entertainment, to entertain people with your poems. Love to educate people. Just love it. If you don't love it, forget about the fame. It may never come. But when you love doing something, you do it all out of your heart. And the hidden talents that have not yet unfolded will begin to come up. And that is something that is very, very, very key. So segmentation is key. Then the premise of that segmentation, after that, exhibition with love. Then
sometimes, if I can be coming, sometimes you're talking about the segmentation. Even before the segmentation, you need to have a title. But I realize the case after even doing all the segmentation, you're still confused about what title should I give to my book.
This I want to tell young people that this is not. It's not something peculiar to them. It's something peculiar to all writers and authors. I mean, I feel it. I face it. If I tell you that when I was going to get the ISBN number for my book, there was a word on my new book that was not in the registration. But when I came after the registration, I came back home and that word, I thought, no, it was necessary. So we keep changing a lot of things. So the fact that you don't have a title does not mean you shouldn't write. Look, you can write about thousands of poems and have no title. Don't care about that. Write them. Put them down. As you sit there, you see, you get inspiration the more you write, and the more you get in tune with what you have written. So you read it, and your book or whatever you have written becomes like a book to you yourself. You write something, a poem, you look at it and it's like, oh, the poem speaks to you yourself. Then you see it's like you are a third person looking at the poem. When you come to that level, you'll be able to get a title. So just write. Write and write. Just put them down. Put them down. If it's thousands of poems, thousands of essays, thousands of themes, put them down. Have no title. Don't worry about that. The time will come. People around you might even help you to get a title. When I came out with my first book, I said Resurrection of the Heat, casting down the falsehood. And people started to say that, what is the resurrection of the heat and all of that. And through interactions with people, I came to have my new title. You understand that? So the point is that if you don't have a title, it is not a problem. There are many authors around the world who do not have titles and still be able to come out with their pieces. When they are about to come out, they sit down and they get their titles. I started to work for about 6 months on my first book, around 2005. For about 6 months, I was writing and I got my piece together and I had no title. And I didn't even know what title I was going to put on it. But when the time came, like a week for me to publish, I was chatting with some African American friends who had come down to see me. And out of the discussion, I had my first title. So there was always a way when there was a will. just start it, and the way will open up for you.
Okay, here lies a case where you've been writing. The time has come for you to do the publishing. Okay, but you're still confused about what actually you want to do. Because I should put myself into it. There's almost a year now I've been working on something, but I have a host of titles in my mind. Then today I look at it, I said, okay, I think this one will do. I show it to people, I said, oh, it's okay. When you meet a different person, you say, oh, why don't you do it this way? You meet another person, the person tells you, why don't you do it this way? So it's like, well, I was like confused. Oh, what should I do? So if you have what? Torn between those things, choosing a title, because so many people give you ideas. They look at, they read your whatever information you have, and they go, I think this one will do. Because sometimes it's like, whatever you're setting out, you should be able to catch the attention of your, if I should call it, your target group. Because if you're writing for the adolescent or the youth, and let's say you put a title that is not a little bit catchy, you see that
they might not you are lost out in the beginning.
So choosing a title for a book, how do you do it?
Yes, as I started to say, you know, you're talking about you have the information,
yes,
publishing, then titling. You know, as I was telling you, you'd have to get a lot of possibilities. And you know, Coastal TV says we're a world of endless possibilities. The world is full of endless possibilities. It is possible. Just put all those things you think are possible down and begin to listen from people. You know, the Bible says that in the multitude of counsel there is safety. So listen to all that people are saying, and put that together. Then you make your own choices. You understand? But you don't have to make a choice without information. That's so. I was happy you said that you've been listening to people. That is the first thing. After getting all the possibilities, listen to people. Let them also give you their ideas. Write them down. Then you sit down in the cool of your own room. Look at it. Then you have to make a decision. You see, the power of decision making is also a skill. We are all at one point in time put at the crossroad of making this decision or making that decision. And you look at it and you make the one which you think it would be best for you. There is no hard and fast rule that this is how your title is supposed to be. You understand? It's also even up to the setting, because titles that would sell in Ghana would not sell outside. That's, for example, there was a time that I preached a message, "Who moved my cheese?" Who moved my cheese? And this is the typical American title. And when the topic came up, you know, the inspiration was from an American author. When the topic came out, everybody around say, hey, what do you mean by who moved my cheese? And all of that. And people were like looking at, people could not understand what it was. Because the title I gave was not Ghanaian. You understand that? So the title is also dependent on the setting where you are. The people that you are targeting. Use simple language. Few words that will catch attention when people look at it, even from far from a shelf. Like somebody looks at your book from a shelf, even far, can just look at something and can draw the person to the book. In the beginning, you made a point that you don't judge a book by its cover. That is true. But you know, it is just, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Because nobody knows the content. Everybody is attracted to what he sees. So before the person can get into the content, he has to look at the cover. So the first thing that would attract the person is the cover. So if you want to market it, it is the cover. So you would have to put a lot of intelligence and skill into designing your cover, the concept, so that when somebody looks at it, oh, this will draw the person to come and buy your book. And the other issue you're talking about was what? Publishing. Publishing, you have publishing houses who may publish for you. But you know, it has to do with, is the material something of interest to them? Because every publishing house has its own concept, has what they stand for. Some of them, they are Christian in philosophy, and that when you bring anything that is not Christian, they would not publish for you. Some of them, they are African and in philosophy. If you bring anything outside of that, they would not publish for you. You know, some of them, they are student-centered. Some too is a general publishing house. So you have to look out for all of that. But there are challenges. when you're talking about publishing. You know, we have publishing when you talk about giving up your rights. That is the right of ownership of your material. Are you going to give it out to the people? Or publishing, like somebody printed it out for you and you're striking a deal. So publishing is something that is very critical and is detailed. Before you get into that, I think that you should be taught a little of what is contract, what goes into contract, what are the conditionalities, what are the terms. All these things you have to learn it, so that somebody doesn't take your work, go to copyright it in his name, and they producing the book and you don't get anything out of it. Only your name is on the cover. And so these are some of the things you have to check out. But you can, what is very, very possible is that you can publish yourself. And that is what young people have to be targeted. Publish it yourself. Because from the beginning, you have to get control of your work. And getting control of your work means that you have to publish it yourself. Get your own little money. So if you are writing and you're putting things down, you have to start to learn to save or get other people's money, what we call OPM, other people's money. If you don't have the money, try to woo people into your, into your business, into your idea, and get money. Like, you know, if Auntie Pearl can get you the money, just try to get her convinced to pump her money into it. She has a percentage. These are the things that young people have to learn to do so that they can get their works out. But I believe that publishing, you'd have to think of publishing yourself so that you get control for the beginning, and later on, when you have the fame and all the exposure, you can begin to give it out to people.
Okay, we're going for a break, then we're coming to just look at, let's say, if you want to write something about the environment, what are the things that you need to put in? If you want to write something on, let's say, love, you want to write something about personal development, what are some of the things that you need to put into your, you have to look out for before you say you are even writing something on that? We go for a break, we come back, we're going to take your course, take our final message, and help you also to write something that you've always been dreaming of. You're welcome back. This is Youngsters from Our Voices Our Future. As to whether young people really have a voice is what we're thinking of. But anyway, whichever way, we're trying to give a voice to the young people where we can build a better future for ourselves. There are so many people who have the idea of the passion to write something out. Maybe I am a victim. I've been writing since almost a year ago, but as whether I want to publish it or how I'm going to do it, it's a big question anyway. But thank God somebody's here today who is just giving us all the gist that we need if really you want to get something out of whatever you're doing in terms of writing. And let's look at it this way. I have a passion to write something on personal development. I've started, or it's like the ideas are not coming, or you put the things on paper. As you said, you try to do some segmentation, or whatsoever, but maybe it's not working out. So what should we put into to make it, more powerful? So whatever is going on, or whoever is reading that book, so okay, it's talking about personal development. Okay, this is what goes on into personal development. I'm talking about this is what I have to do. So it's like you're talking about more of yourself. So you need to put the person into the book. Let the person feel that, okay, it's me. So I don't know how to.
Yes, if we're talking about personal development, it's like this is like now we are moving from the general publishing stuff, and we're angling ourselves somewhere, like a theme. You know, for whatever that you want to talk about, first you would have to observe. So with personal development, there is observation, and observation has to do with human beings, because you're going to write about how human beings would develop, how people can develop their talents, how people can choose the right careers, how people can take the right courses in school. So it means that you would first have to observe. And observation, one, from other people. Secondly, observation from other books. Then observation from your own life. So that when you look at, for example, observation from your own life, you realize that maybe when I was going through school, I picked some courses without certain knowledge, and now I've grown up and I've realized that I should have taken the other way out. So this is enough premise for me to advise other people. That is first. and you read books and you have a lot of ideas.
Let me open the phone line. You can call us on 028-954-2973. Maybe you have a question, you have a suggestion, you have a comment, whatever you think you want to put across on whatever we're discussing. We'll be here to take your questions and suggestions. Anything on whatever we're discussing. Call us on 028-954-2973. Let's go.
Yeah, so for example, you know, there are issues that when you're coming to write about, people would have gone into it a little bit. So they should become a platform for you. You don't have to go researching into that again. You go, because when there is when the wheel has been invented, you don't go inventing the wheel again. So the first thing is that look at what you have gone through, and if you want to look at it, you have to be very observant. What have been your experiences? What have been your joy? What has been your pain?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening. Please reduce the hello. Hello. Sorry. Please, if you're calling, reduce the volume of your TV set so that we can hear you. Please reduce the volume of your TV set.
Yes, I was talking about that. You don't have to invent the wheel. You have to make observation. Then out of it, there are certain things that they are already available. Just take hold of it and add what you have to add to it. But in this,
hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Evening. Your name and where you calling us from?
My name is Coleman.
Anthony.
Yes.
How are you?
Sorry?
Yes. I'm listening.
Yeah, I want to ask a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a collection of some of the poems that I wrote in essays. In all circumstances, I just write what I unfold and put it on a piece of paper. But after that, I'm not able to remember what I wrote. If I don't write it on a paper, like it just comes into my mind. So I want to ask him how best I can memorize them in case I start writing them as I get the idea at a place when I don't have a pen and a paper.
Thank you, Coleman. Let me just come in. If you're that creative type, I mean, everywhere you go, you should have something, a pen and a paper with you. That is what I do most. So everywhere, whether even it's just a pen, I make sure that I have a sheet folded into my purse. So if really you are interested in those things, you are a guy, you have pockets all over you. Make sure that wherever you're going, just take a sheet of paper. Hello? 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 So maybe Ernest.
yes, you know, in that respect, it is good. You have to carry a piece of paper, a pen along with you all the time, and also you have to get a recorder. You know, I wanted to. I have my dream of coming out with my music many years from now, and I think that I started 5 years ago, and I have songs. I mean, 50, more than 50.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening. Your name and where you calling us from? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, we are listening. Sorry about the
Yeah, so as I was saying, I want to come out with my music. I do not know how it's going to be, but from about 5 years, I carry my recorder with me. And I have those songs all recorded, and they are on my iPod, and I listen to them all the time. You understand that? So if I'm walking out in town, and a song comes into my head, I just pick my phone, right, and I record with my phone. I go back home, I download onto my computer, and I start playing it. If some lines come into my head, like a rhyme, sometimes you get a rhyme that is very nice, then I just scribble it on a piece of paper. I keep it. I come home, I come and add it up to these collections. So when you look at this collection, it doesn't look very nice, you know. But then when I start to use them, it would begin to fetch me a lot of money. So every person who would want to write would have to get something like that, where a piece of paper you be writing, you hide it somewhere, just be holding it up, so that at a point in time you can put all those little things together into a single poem, and you can get a nice thing out.
So if you want to be a writer, you need to develop the act of what? Using or putting papers wherever you go. You make sure that you have a pen and paper with you everywhere you go, if you have the passion of doing that. Because You can't be a good writer without pen and paper, because that's what you can use most.
That's it.
So you need to develop that skill of carrying paper and pen wherever you go.
Yes. Because you know, creativity pays. But if you can't record your creativity, you lose them all out. You understand that? So it's very important that you have a way of recording things that come by inspiration. The things that you sit down to write and stuff like that, sometimes it might not inspire other people, but things that come to you by inspiration, if you're able to get them down, that is what, when you sing to people, you read to people, it can fetch you a lot of money. Coming back to the issue we're tackling with personal development, we talked about observation from your life, other books and all of that. Then you have to research onto the material. What do you have to give yourself? Write it down. Then after what you read from other books, you can get onto the internet. Type in the information. What have other people written about? What were the responses from other places? Know the impediments that those people faced. How are you going to overcome those impediments? Now, for example, when you want to write certain things about liberating African people, you know, many people have done it before you were born. You look at those people's life. What were their obstacles? What were their challenges? So that when you are coming up, you'll be able to get up a way that you can stand up to all those challenges, so that you don't fall out like those people fell out. Life is like, I always say that people will say that experience is the best teacher, but I never agree to that saying. Experience is the worst teacher I have found in this world, because experience will give you the lesson, will give you the test before it gives you the lesson. And which bad teacher is like that? There is no bad teacher in the world who gives you the examination before he teaches you the thing. But experience is like that. It brings the examination. You might fail before later you learn the lesson. That is never good. You must begin to learn from other people's experiences and what other people have gone through, so that you don't also falter along the line. And that is very critical when it comes to writing and publishing. Many people have written, and their books are on the shelves. I walk around a little bit and they get demoralized because people are not buying it. So you have to ask all these questions. Why is it that people have written books about personal development and it is there and people are not even buying it? The issue of marketing comes in. So if you are talking about marketability, the book cover, then you have to get a campaign to get people knowledgeable about what you're doing. For you have like you're saying, personal development. Nobody knows that you have the book. How are people going to buy it? You understand? There are many books on the shelves all over the country. When you get to the bookshop, very, very good books. Very, very good books. But because people don't talk about it on radio. All that we advertise on radio is Malta Guineas and unfortunately alcoholic drinks and all sort of things that may not even be very beneficial. You understand? But these are the things we have to market. And the media is also to come in here. You know, media seems not to promote most of these works like that. Media is always looking at the profits and all of that they can make out of advertisements and all of that. But I think that the social responsibility of media should also come to the aid of young people who would want to come up. Like if we have a program, young people come and they share their poems. When I was in secondary schools, I wrote a poem, 99% Love Fever. Now, and when I wrote it down, it was there like 2 years. And Radio Central said they wanted to have a love competition, a love poem competition. And I read it and it was like, wow. And I was motivated, you understand, to continue writing. And after that, I've had a lot of stuff inside there. I got a lot of stuff because of that motivation. If we motivate young people, they will be able to come out with what is inside of them. If we don't motivate them, they would feel that it is not worth it, even writing. And more so in our environment, where we don't appreciate the creative art. Our environment is like that, we don't want to buy anything. Now when you produce a book, every friend of yours want to take it for free. Every family member of yours want to take it for free. You understand that? So if the media will be able to come in to get a campaign out that encourages creative writing, that encourages people buying and not taking it for free, knowing that this is a talent. Look at our musicians. People play their music, they don't pay right. People do all sort of things. So you find a musician who is so popular, but he has no home to sleep in. He has no food to put on the table, no money to give out to his children. You understand? These problems do not encourage the young people to want to come up. And these are issues that we have to tackle, aside what we put on paper.
Okay, if you're watching, you can just give us a call. We're almost running up. But Anthony, let me come back to you. This time, because of technology, even the phone, we send messages on our phones. So if you have the idea, sometimes you just write it as a message. That is what I do sometimes. When I'm sitting down and I have an idea, I take my phone, go to my message, write message, I write it down and I save it. So when I get to the house, I go and write it down. So you can develop that act too. If you are somewhere, at least you have your phone with you, just take your phone, go to your message, write it down, the idea down. When you get home, you have a book or a paper that you normally put your ideas on. Then you transfer it onto your whatever you're doing. So that is another information for you. If really you want to write, then you need to develop that. Maybe I need to invite you, read some of your poems to me on air. And all those who are even interested in doing something, maybe writing, you know how to sing, you just do something for yourself that you say you know that you can do best. We're opening the forum for you. If you want to be part of this program, just call me on 024 975 7344. 024 975 3378. Another one, 027 541 3378. Call Auntie Pill. Whatever you think you can do as a young person between, let's say, 0 and 25. If you think you have something that you want to do, call me on 027 541 3378 or 024 975 7344. We sit down, we put the ideas together, and wow, you see yourself on set. Ernest.
Yes, there was something that was going through my mind as I was sitting down. You know, young people, we always need motivation. You know, I say we. You know, in Africa, no matter how old you become, you are young. You get the opportunity to not come very early in our lives. And we young people would have to motivate ourselves. The Bible says that, and David encouraged himself. Sometimes the encouragement may not come from anybody. You need to create that for yourself. Now, when you have written down something, we have it's a junior graphic, and we have some student magazines around. Try to write to them. You write to them, maybe about 10 times, 20 times. You might get one published, and that will be a motivation. When I was in primary school, and in Montessori, you know.
Things you ran about, so
yes.
Let's run up.
Yes, so when I was in primary school and in Montessori, there was this magazine called Playpen, and I was always writing for Playpen, and they were publishing. So it always would encourage me to write. So every time my name was in Playpen, and I had a national award and all of that. So if you do these things, look at avenues around. What are those papers? Just look out for them and submit your things to them. You understand? And next time we have to learn about copywriting, so that nobody steals your information. Yeah, so you copyright them, then you send it to these people. Or if you think it is nothing, I mean like small poems and stuff like that, it wouldn't need any copywriting. Just send it to them and stuff like that. And when one gets published, it might give you the motivation to carry on.
So is that your last word for the youth people who are interested in writing?
Yes, what I want to say is that
30 seconds.
Writing pays, but it's a difficult work to start with, and it is a work of endless nights and painful times. But if you are positive on it, it will take you places. It will make you meet people you never wish you would meet, and it will send you into the sky. So if you're a young person and you have the desire to write, keep on writing. Put your ideas down, and someday opportunity will come and meet your preparation, and that will bring you your success. But before I go, you know, I'm in my Ghana stuff, you know. We are hoping that the Lord will be with us to surmount over the obstacle. You know, Bible says that, oh Zerubbabel, I will let this plain, it says this mountain will become like a plain. So we are believing that the Lord will make Egypt become like a plane and we'll walk over them and bring the cup home.
They are also praying anyway, but whatever.
No, but there is a God in Ghana that is nowhere. God plays football for Ghana all the time. And I mean, you can see it throughout all of that. So the God in Ghana is more than the God in every other country.
We watch for that tomorrow, whether Ghana is going to actually take the cup. This is how we end today's program of Youngsters Forum. Well, we try to give a voice to the young people to create their own future. If you're interested in writing, you can start. Put something down for yourself. Bring it to me. I'll let it go out for you so that people can meet you. Whatever you need to do, you can do it. It has been a very wonderful program because I've learned so much out of it. Thank you, Mr. Essuman, for coming. And I hope to see you some other time where we digest issues when it comes to writing and whatever goes into writing. My name is Auntie Paul. I'll see you next week for another wonderful edition.
We pray for our fathers, pray for our mothers, wishing our